So it appears that Andrew Yang had a questionable take at best on the FBI raid that happened on Donald Trump, as it appears to be pertaining to related to documents that he has taken that is required to be held by, I think, the Presidential Records Act. And I guess when they took it, they found some classified documents, and so they ended up getting enough evidence to execute a search warrant, and it was judge approved, etc., etc. Definitely came out of nowhere for a lot of people. But he appears to have an interesting take. Obviously, Republicans have been saying that this is all politically motivated. No evidence whatsoever, of course, except for just conjecture. But here's what he says. He says, "I'm no Trump fan. I want him as far away from the White House as possible. But a fundamental part of his appeal has been that it's him against a corrupt government establishment. This raid strengthens that case for millions of Americans who will see this as unjust persecution. Seems like this was authorized by a local judge in a particular FBI office without buy-in or notification of higher levels of government. But literally no one will believe that or make a distinction. It's probably bureaucratic, but it seems political." And then he has a quote. It says, "If they raided his home just to find classified documents he took from the White House," one legal expert noted, "he will be reelected president in 2024 hands down. It will prove to be the greatest law enforcement mistake in history." So he's quoting one legal expert here, and then it's also weird because it's like he's way out of his field on that because he's a legal expert. Why is he giving political advice? It's like a political thing. That would require a political scientist, not a legal expert. A legal expert could tell you whether he committed crimes, etc., but that has nothing to do with politics. So how is he somebody who is qualified to tell us what's going to result in Trump being elected or not? He's a legal expert, not a political scientist. But anyways, what you can see here is Andrew Yang. This is a massively viral tweet because all the Republicans were on Twitter basically saying that this was politically motivated. A lot of the Republicans obviously don't want to be investigated for a bunch of illegal stuff they did for themselves. But to me, the most important thing for doing this is to make sure that make sure that everybody is subject to the law, make sure that nobody is above the law, especially considering that Donald Trump had no care and just completely did not give any craps about the law as it was whatsoever. And so there's so much illegal stuff that he's done that there's essentially now like at least 5 investigations going on into him, right? There's the January 6th investigation, which has multiple pieces to it, by the way. It's not just like whether he incited the riot or not. It also has to do with like a fake elector scheme to try to, defraud the system, and then trying to get Pence to illegally, unconstitutionally just, deem electors, invalid. So there's a bunch going on there. Essentially an attempt to defraud the entire United States democracy, right? The biggest crime possible. Then there's the one going on in Georgia, which I believe is the Fulton County DA, where it is trying to investigate whether he committed crimes when he was trying to pressure the Secretary of State, Brad Raffensperger, to, quote, find the votes. Then you have a civil investigation going on to him in New York State as it pertains to his financial dealings in real estate. And then there's also another criminal investigation going on to him in Manhattan that has to deal with the same issue. And then now you've got this where he's stealing, government documents and all of this stuff. And so it's something that you need to be able to, prosecute, because if you don't, people will just be above the law. Presidents will be above the law, and this kind of wanton just miscare for the law whatsoever will continue to stand. And so it seems like he's just saying that, this raid is going to strengthen his case. I don't know about you guys, but I personally just don't see it that way. My feeling is just not that this is going to be some kind of like come to Jesus moment for Trump supporters that's going to propel him to election victory. I just think people are kind of tired of Trump and just how much illegal stuff he did. It's not like, they're just raiding his, government documents thing. There's so much other stuff going on too. But, when Democrats do this stuff, they care so much about what the FBI says and, how important government documents are, etc. But when Trump does it, it's different. So it's completely different. And I don't even really see any evidence that's politically motivated. I mean, the reports are that Biden knew nothing about it and that they learned about this raid from, reports and stuff like that. So I don't even know where they're getting the idea that this is like super political from anyways. They're obviously just making that up and trying to make conjecture because they're trying to shift the narrative away from how much crime Donald Trump has committed. And so this is another thing where he kind of ends up being a tool for the Republicans and the Republican Party. Whether he genuinely believes what he's saying here, I'm not really sure. I guess maybe I'd say that maybe he does believe what he's saying, but You know, it's just so ridiculous to kind of see him saying this, and he's trying to push his forward party thing now. He's gone away from the Democratic Party or whatever, you know, which is fine, but you know, he's trying to push this whole forward party thing, and tons of people are, you know, really getting angry at him for what he's saying because a lot of his followers were Democrats. So it's saying, yeah, he should just never face any consequence for openly committing treason and endless state and federal crimes. And that kind of ends up what it kind of does end up coming down to being. I'm not sure if that's a straw man and Andrew Yang is just saying that, you know, oh, is he trying to say that, you know, it's okay to prosecute him but not in this specific instance, or is he just generally against him actually doing it as a whole, like, you know, the prosecutions for his crimes? Because you could just say that, like, you know, the prosecutions for his crimes are gonna, you know, they're gonna radicalize his base and all that stuff. I don't agree with that assessment, and I'm not really sure what evidence there is for that. His base is already so insanely motivated that I'm just not really sure what you could do to boost them even more. And I don't know if I've seen any statistical actual evidence or if it's just like personal intuition and just feelings. But Andrew Yang, once again, being a hack.